What's up guys, TopTierYugioh here. Today we have a Burning Abyss Monarch deck profile. So this deck really plays more like a more consistent version of Monarchs because the Burning Abyss engine gives you really constant tribute fodder. So it has the consistency and strong early game of Burning Abyss with the power and good late game of Monarchs. So let's go ahead and get into the profile. 3 Ether, this is probably the best monster in the deck. It sets up your entire Monarch engine by searching your other Monarch monsters, as well as sending your speller trap to the graveyard, such as Pantheism, to search your other speller traps. So this card can allow you to get to anything you want in the entire deck. Using it with Domain can help you go into rank 6s like Beatrice to get you to your Burning Abyss engine if you need that, or M7 to get things back from your graveyard. Ether sets up a lot of your plays and is definitely necessary at 3. 2 Erebus, I only play 2 because once you see 1, you can always get the others from the graveyard. And so because you're always milling so many cards with the Burning Abyss engine, milling Erebus essentially sets you up to have all of your other Monarch cards whenever you want. And the fact that you can use it in both players' turn makes it really strong as well. 2 Kuraz, it's really good to summon off of Ether to either destroy your opponent's cards for disruption, or destroy your own cards for drawing more into your deck, and also for making those really important rank 6s like Beatrice. 1 Dark-Armed Dragon, I love this card in this deck because you can search it off a return. So if you mill it to the graveyard, you can use Erebus to bring it back to your hand. It has 2800 attack, 1000 defense, so you can use it with tenacity. So Dark-Armed Dragon is so good in this deck, and you can use Erebus to manipulate the number of darks in your grave, as well as cards like Barbar and Dante. So it's easy to search, easy to summon, it's a very powerful card in a lot of matchups. For the Burning Abyss engine, 1 Tour Guide, 3 Skarm, 2 Seer, 1 Graph, 3 Farfa, because you have the option to play as either a Monarch deck or as a Burning Abyss deck. But when you're playing as a Burning Abyss deck, especially in the mirror, you definitely need 3 Farfas. 2 Alec, 1 Calcab, and 1 Barbar. For the Monarch spells, 3 Pantheism. This card's probably going to get hit on the next ban list, either limited or banned. Probably not banned. It's just insanely powerful being able to use the draw effect multiple times per turn, and then being able to search from your graveyard as well. You can use this to play a lot of mind games on your opponent, and I really love that about this card. 3 Tenacity. This is probably the best card to get off of Pantheism because it's going to put another speller trap in your graveyard for Prime. And aside from that, it allows you to search all of your other speller traps obviously. So it's definitely necessary at 3. 3 Stormforth because it's non-targeting, non-destruction removal, and that's really good in the meta right now, especially against Cosmos, against Beatrice. Really any big monster you need to deal with, you can just play Stormforth and tribute it. And then it's also really good because you don't have to tribute like after Stormforth resolves. So like Stormforth itself doesn't tribute summon a monster, but rather after Stormforth resolves, at any other point in the turn you want to tribute summon, you can use the effect. So I love Stormforth because you can play it and then force your opponent to make other plays before you make your actual move. So like sometimes if I'm playing against Burning Abyss, I'll activate Stormforth knowing that they have to use Beatrice right then and there. So that means they can't use their Beatrice to stop any of my plays. To return, I really don't like this card that much. It's only good early game, but because after you get an Erebus in your graveyard, you have continuous access to all of your monsters, and it locks you out your extra deck, which isn't good in the Burning Abyss deck. However, it is very good early for getting to your Ethers. And finally, 2 Domain, and this is probably my favorite Monarch speller trap because it gets your Ether down to level 6, and that allows you to make rank 6 plays, as well as making them easier to summon, so it really comes up a lot. 2 Twin Twisters, destroying speller traps is pretty important right now, especially with all the PK fire, and this also helps unbreak your hand because sometimes you can discard an Erebus or a Burning Abyss monster to help get your plays going. And so Twin Twisters is really good for both of those purposes. And then finally, 3 Prime. I think 3 is necessary in this deck because you do mill through your deck so fast, you need the 3rd one in order to keep your Monarch speller traps in deck. So you need 2 Primes so you can make your rank 5s, you need the 3rd Prime for recycling. For the extra deck, 3 Dante because this is a Burning Abyss deck. Dante's kind of the soul of the engine. It gets everything in the graveyard. It gets your Prime, your Pantheisms, your Erebus all in the graveyard so you can use their effects, as well as your other Burning Abyss monsters. It also, because it gets your Burning Abyss monsters back to your hand, it gives you consistent fodder for your tribute summons. 1 Break Sword for removal, 1 Giga Brilliant. Giga Brilliant's useful for going into Corbage because that helps you out defense position monsters such as Beatrice, Prime Monarchs, and other various threats. And then also when combined with Dante Pilgrim, it makes it really hard for a lot of decks to get over. Because if you have this at 3100, it still can't be targeted and it helps you draw through your deck. It just becomes immensely powerful. So Giga Brilliant's useful like that as well. The 1 aforementioned Corbage, Castellar Pleiades. This is probably my favorite rank 5 to go into because it can use its effect in either player's turn. So if you can make this with the Ether and Stormforth, then you have 2 plays on your opponent's turn. Or with the Beatrice, still you have 2 plays on your opponent's turn. and the more ways you have to disrupt your opponent, the higher chance you have to win. So Pleiades is great for that. One artifact Durandal. I love the fact that you can essentially negate your opponent's effects by changing their effects to destroying one spell or trap you control. But the shuffle effect is also really good when you draw like a really Burning Abyss heavy hand when you want more Monarchs, or vice versa. Durandal is really good for that. And it also helps keep you from getting Stormforth Ethered yourself. So if your opponent has an Ether in their hand and they activate Ether's effect, you can activate Durandal to shuffle that Ether back into their deck, and now they can't tribute your monsters. 2 Beatrice. The third does come up every now and then, but I think because of that space in here, 2 is kind of optimal. I might add the third though. But there are a few other cards I also think about adding in for like the 15th spot. But Beatrice is really good for disrupting your opponent by sending Alec or Farfa, setting up your next plays by sending Skarn to get a Tour Guide, and then also sending your Monarch things such as Pantheism Prime and Erebus. And if I have an Erebus in graveyard, sometimes I'll send Dark Arm Dragon, and then I'll use Erebus effect to add Dark Arm to my hand. So Beatrice is amazing in this deck. 1 M7, its effect is really important because the Burning Abyss engine gets so many of your monsters in the graveyard. M7 allows you to get them back, while also being able to remove your opponent's monsters as well. 1 Gaia Dragon, 1 Hope Harbinger, and 1 F-Zero. And then finally 1 Dante to go with the Beatrices. So one of my favorite combos in this deck is if you have Domain, Ether, and a Burning Abyss. So you special summon your Burning Abyss monster, activate Domain, use Domain on Ether making it level 6. Now you tribute summon your Ether and activate its effect by sending Pantheism and Prime to the graveyard. Then you want to special summon a Kuraz. So you use Kuraz's effect to destroy Domain, and that's going to allow you to draw a card. And then now you can overlay your Ether and your Kuraz into a M7. Now you can activate M7's effect, detaching your Ether to add Ether back to your hand, and then you can banish your Pantheism to search a Stormforth. So now you have Ether, Stormforth, sub whatever card you just drew, and then you have a Prime Monarch and a Domain in your graveyard, so your Prime Monarch is live already. So this is a really good combo for setting you up for your next turn, and an Ether Stormforth play. Another combo I like is really similar, but it's a 4-card combo, and it's pretty much the same thing except now you have a Stormforth as well. And so it starts off the same, where you special summon your Skarn, activate Domain, use Domain on Ether, tribute summon your Ether by tributing the Skarn, activate the effect sending Pantheism and Prime, so send Pantheism Prime to the graveyard, and then you can special summon Kuraz. Activate Kuraz's effect to destroy Domain, then you get to draw a card, and now you still have the Stormforth, and now you overlay both of these into a Beatrice. Now you can activate Beatrice's effect, and you want to send Erebus to the graveyard. And now when you activate your Pantheism effect, so you banish Pantheism, and so you want to use that to search another Prime Monarch. And now you can activate Erebus's effect, discard Prime Monarch to add Ether back to your hand. You still have the Stormforth, so now you have your Ether Stormforth set up. You still have the card you drew, and you have a Beatrice that your opponent has to deal with, so you have some more disruption on their turn. So this is also another really good play for setting up Ether Stormforth, except now you have a Beatrice as well. So you can send like a Farfa, Alec, or even, you can send Dark Arm Dragon and get it back to your hand with Erebus. Or you can send Pantheism. So this combo is really, really cool. top deck we have 3 Veilers, 3 Chaos Hunters, 2 Flying Seas, 2 Ghost Reapers, 1 Majesty's Fiend, 1 Solemn Warning, 1 Twin Twister, 1 Raigeki, 1 Frostblast of the Monarchs. So now let's talk about what I sided out in each matchup. So against the Monarchs, I side out Return, Farfa, and both Twin Twisters. I side in triple Effect Veiler and Solemn Warning. I side these out because I don't need Return as much because once I mill an Erebus, I have access to all of my other Monarch monsters. I don't want to brick by drawing too many of the same Burning Abyss, so I wanted to have, less 3-ofs and more 2-ofs. I don't expect too many traps, and so Twin Twister isn't as necessary either. And now, the Effect Veilers are really good in the mirror match because if I can stop a Monarch effect, or especially an Edea or an Eidos, it's going to really set me up to win that next turn. Solemn Warning's the same way. If I can stop their normal summon or tribute summon, I'm going to be set up to win that very next turn. And then Veilers, I can loop with M7. So once I mill it or draw it, I'm going to be able to get it back pretty much every turn if I want to. So this is very strong. This is a really common theme throughout my side deck. So I want to side a lot more monsters and spell or traps because I do have access to M7. Against Pendulums, I side out Farfa, Skarm, Dark Arm, Prime Monarch, and Return. Again, I side both of these out because I want less 3-ofs and more 2-ofs because you can brick if you draw multiples of the same Burning Abyss monster. I side out Dark Arm because it isn't necessary for the engine. Although it's really good in this matchup, it's just not necessary, and I want to side in better cards. And then I side out 1 Prime Monarch because I don't plan on grinding with Pendulums. I want to win pretty quickly, so I only need the 2 in the deck for rank 5s. And then 1 Return for the same reason I just said. I side in 3 Veilers because shutting down monster effects is really powerful against Pendulums. And then also Solemn Warning is really powerful if I can negate a tribute summon. If I can negate the Pendulum summon, and another Twin Twister for destroying the scales. Against Burning Abyss, I side out the same cards, except 1 Alec, because it's not as strong in that matchup. And I want to make space for the 6 cards I want to side in. I only do this when I'm playing against PK Fire, and Frostblast is that 6 card. So if I was playing regular Burning Abyss, then I would only side these out and these in. But since most of you are playing PK Fire, this is, what goes in and out. So the Ghost Reapers are just auto win if I draw them. Flying Seas are really good because I can recycle them with M7. Majesty's Fiend is a searchable way to shut them down. And then Frostblast, I chose this over the 3rd Twin Twister to side in because Twin Twister is going to stop 1 Fog Blade. This is going to be able to stop 2 Fog Blades. So I really like Frostblast in that regard. And I'll actually show you a really cool combo I like to do later on. And it kind of goes along the same lines as what I was doing before. When playing against Combo Cosmo, I like to side out Dark Armed, Farfa, Skarm, Prime Monarch, and Return. And then I side in 3 Chaos Hunters, 1 Majesty's Fiend, and 1 Solemn Warning. The Chaos Hunter stops a lot of their combos with Fire King Island, and anything that includes Dark Destroyer destroying itself, and a few others. Plus it has a good body, it can be tributed, and it makes you discard a card, which can be good for unbricking some of your hands sometimes. But if I play against Card of Demise Cosmo, I don't side in the Chaos Hunters, and instead I side in the 3rd Twin Twisters and the Frostblast, and then I keep the Return, because this allows me to play around Solemn Strike and also Dark Lady. Then Majesty's Fiend stops all of their effects, and Solemn Warning can just end their turn if I can catch a normal summon with it. So it's just generally pretty good against them. So after siding, one of my favorite combos is when you open up Domain, 2 Burning Abyss monsters, and Ether. And the way it works is like this. So you special summon both of your Burning Abyss monsters, activate Domain. Now you exige both of those into a Dante. Now you activate Dante's effect. You're not going to get the Burning Abyss monster's effect because they're both special summoned. And then you mill 3 cards. And if one of those 3 is, say, a hand trap like Effect Veiler, Ghost Reaper, Flying Sea. So let's just say I mill a Flying Sea. So let's say these are the mills. Like, of course this isn't going to happen, but just as an example, like when you mill a hand trap, it's really, really good because now you can tribute the Dante for your Ether. Oh, you want to use Domain on Ether too, so it's level 6. And they're going to use Ether's effect, just like the other combos, and they're going to send Prime Monarch, and then you're going to send Pantheism to the graveyard, and that's going to allow you to summon a Kuraz. If I can find my Kuraz. Summon Kuraz. Then you can activate Kuraz's effect to destroy Domain. You get the draw card, and now you can go into M7. So now with M7, you can go the same way as before, and you can get back an Ether, and you can set up your Stormforth with the Pantheism, or you can get back one of your hand traps. So if you milled a hand trap, you can get it back to your hand and pretty much blow your opponent out. So like if you're playing Burning Abyss and you mill one of these 2, you can get it right back to your hand and then just blow your opponent out with it. And then on your next turn, you can use this to get back your ether and then set up some more plays. And also when you tribute Dante, you get its effect to get back one of the Burning Abyss monsters, so you still have more tribute fodder on your next turn. So this is like a really cool combo that you could do games 2 and 3. And like sometimes with the Dante mill, you'll hit like a Pantheism or a Prime, or like just something that's generally really good. It's also really cool when you use Dante's effect and you mill like a Seer or a Graph, and that's going to let you special summon a Burning Abyss monster, and you can distribute that for ether, allowing you to keep your Dante. Then if you have a third Burning Abyss in your hand, you can make Beatrice. And Beatrice plus M7 is a pretty ridiculous field for most opponents to break. So it's a really good combo. This has been my Burning Abyss Monarch deck profile, and again, I really enjoy playing this deck because it's so consistent with the Burning Abyss engine in the early game, and your late game is so powerful with the Monarch engine. So you just have so many power cards like Ether, Stormforth, Pantheism, Prime, and you get all of those set up so quickly with the Burning Abyss cards that it becomes very hard for a lot of decks to win. It's also really hard to do damage through cards like Beatrice and Dante, Seers, Graphs, as well as Prime Monarch, so you have so much defense as well. Now it does have some of the same problems as a normal Monarch deck does, like if you draw too many Monarch monsters, you're not going to be able to play, or too many Speller Traps. And so the ratios are really important, but when you draw even decently well, you're able to win most matchups. But with all of that being said, thanks for watching guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me if there are any changes you'd like to make, any ways that I can make this deck better. Please let me know. And once again, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you guys later.